The present paper is on scientific analysis of creation of the universe and the origin of life in Vedic hymns. Now, this is the first slide which you can see. Professor S.P. shown. This is myself. I was professor in Delhi University, also a senior Fulbright Scholar, University of California. I'm an embryologist basically, and then I developed interest to give the embryological evidences in the Rig Vedas. The second author is Dr. Manisha Sengar. She is also in the University of Delhi. And the third author is Dr. C.P. Trivedi. He's a retired principal from Madhya Pradesh, and now he's the director of Vedic Research Institute, Pratam, Madhya Pradesh. So the present paper is on the present paper is on the creation of the universe, and the universe has been created slowly. It's a long process, and the nature is everything. The first slide is Aditi Dhari Aditi Antariksham Aditi Mata Sapita Saputra Vishudeva Aditi Panchana Aditi. The Vedic seers have described the nature with the names of Aditi or Prakriti. They have postulated the fact that the world, in this world, whatever is there and whatever is to be is nature only. So Aditi is heaven, Aditi is mid-air, Aditi is the mother, father and son, Aditi is all gods, Aditi five-class man, Aditi all that has been born and shall be born. This indicates that everything which is going on in the creation is due to the Aditi, due to the nature. The second sutra is 191 of the first bundle. Heaven is your sire, your mother earth, Som your brother, Aditi your sister, seeing all unseen, keep still and dwell ye happily. This is given in first bundle and the 191 soup. The next one is the modern concept of energy. This is Einstein's theory of energy is equal to mc square. Now here E is energy, M is mass, matter. But that means whatever has been done in this university is because of the matter and mass and energy. C is velocity of light, which can be called as the electric energy. So the next one is the Vedic concept of energy or fundamental energy. The Vedic yajna is a very symbolic representation of actions and interactions going on in the nature in a cyclic manner. The Rig Veda 10th, first bundle, 164 soup and 90th soup describe everything about the nature, how the creation has been taking place. So the whole creation is a Srishti Yajna. The creation came into existence through actions and directions. Under a system, the Vedic sages have indicated it in the first hymn. Om Agni Mile Puritam Yajnasa Devam Riti Hotaram Ratan Dhatman. Means I invoke Agni, fundamental energy, who is the Dev, fundamental particle, sacrificer, reciter, and the Srishti Yajna, which is the treasure of jewels. It means everything which is present in this creation is due to fundamental energy. The Vedic concept of creation of universe is by actions and interactions going on in the nature in a cyclic manner slowly. It is like a yajna, which is very carefully performed several times in a day. The seers are the dhata. The dhata invoke the Agni, Indra, Mitra, Varun, Yam, Surya, Akash, Matariswan. So all these are the different devtas which we consider in the Rig Vedas. So all these devtas, all these Vayu and the Prithvi, the Earth, the cosmos, uh, Antariksh, this is all part of the nature. The creation, next one is the creation of universe. The formation of universe has been a very slow and long process where nebula, asteroids, galaxies have been formed. The Purus has been depicted as vast ocean of fundamental energy, which has formed the universe, cosmos, sun, moon, earth, and planets. Purush Sukh reveals the secret of creation, formed individual soul and Brahma. Sahasrishaha Purushaha, that means 1,000 heads the Purush has, 1,000 eyes, 1,000 feet on every side pervading the earth. This is given in the 10th suit of the 90th, 10th mandala, 90th suit. The Purush is all that has been and that is to be, the Lord of immortality, which waxes greater still by food. So it has been said that the three-fourth part of the next one Uh, the three-fourth part, the three-fourth part of Purush ascended, the other fourth remained in this world. So it has been said that the three-fourth part of the fundamental energy is invisible in the cosmos, or heaven, or the black hole, according to the Stephen uh, Hawking. Only the one-fourth part of the is undergoing transformation again and again, which spreads on every side as animate and inanimate reaction creation. The human body is a microcosm in the macrocosm. So we are very small part of it. Now the next one, the creative power of the Gayatri is in the three bands of Gayatri. Gayatri has been considered as electron, proton, and neutron. That means the every particle is the Gayatri, and this particle, atom has the electron, proton, and neutron. So we in India we say that Kankar mein Bhagwan. That means the smallest part, the atom, plays a very important role in the creation of the universe. The magnetic and electric energy together generates electromagnetic bond energy. So the electron, proton, and neutron they form the electromagnetic bond energy, and this is how the creation has taken place. Next one, the sun is the eye and soul of the creation. Here you can see Surya in the end, Surya Atma Jagatastush. The sun is everything, is the soul and in the creation. It means that whatever is going on in the creation is due to the sun. It is also known fact that sun is the main energy source in our solar planet. The Vedic seers say that the creative power of the sun is in Gayatri, and heaven, earth, and firmament Akash are filled with the glory of sun. Gayatri drives the sun and other planets like a wheel of the chariot. Now, again the importance of Gayatri has come. Electron, proton, and neutron, the atom, the smallest particle. Again, it has been indicated by our rishis and the sages. Now, I'll just give you a scientific analysis of the Vedic hymns and the origin of life. According to the modern researches in the field of origin of life, demonstrated abiotic formation of the organic substances in the early pre-biological history of the Earth. Oparin 1922, Hardin 1928, Bujenburg de Jong 1929 have suggested that in the primitive conditions, weights may get produced as and when two hydrophilic colloidal solutions carrying opposite charges are being mixed. Now, Oparin says in 68 has also suggested that the photosynthetic activity can be promoted when porphyrin is incorporated in the weights. It might be possible that porphyrin-like substances might have interacted with the weights. Now, here the weight is a viscous mass, and you can see the viscous mass in the ponds. You can see the viscous mass. This is the causal weight, and in the lakes and in the sea also, whatever the particles from the earth and whatever leaves and everything, they are all accumulated in this causal weight. And maybe this causal weight formed a outer layer, and inside this is acting just like protoplasm. And later on, the nucleus is formed. So maybe the life has started in this form. Now, next is how the first cell has been formed. Yat Kandra Pratham Jaiman Udyantu Samudradut Va Purushat Shenasya Paksha Hiranasya Bahu Upastuttu Mahi Jatam Teyarvan. This is very interesting. The first cell has been synthesized in the water. The same has been termed as celestial race under the name Ribhu, from which the world of living beings came into existence. Now, this Yat Kandra, whenever Pratham Jaiman, first Jeev has been created, Udyantu Samudra Dut has been formed from the Samudra, means sea. An example of this is Amiga. Shenasya Paksha Harnasya Bahu Upastuttum Mahi. Shenasya Paksha means it was very active, just like a deer. Upastuttum Mahi, then it came to the Mahi, means it came to the earth. This is how we have described in our Rig Veda and other Vedas and in our Purans also, that the life has originated from a single cell, and the life has been from the sea only. And we have the Matsya Avatar, means the fishes evolved first. Then we have the Manduk Avatar, the amphibians evolved, and then we have the Kachap Avatar, the reptiles, and subsequently the chordates and all other animals formed. The Ribhu, Vibhu, and Vaj were the three sons of Rishi Sudhanvan, who was the descendant of sage Angiras. Sage Angiras is a very prominent and renowned sage in the ancient time. And Ribhu has tremendous capacity to divide and multiply into uh, cellular body and thus could make their parents young again. Now here Yuvana Pitraha Punaha. The Ribhus uttering unfailing prayers, endowed with rectitude and succeeding in all past acts, made their aged parents young again. Means they had the power to divide and form a new thing, a new. It can give rise to any new, a new generation or new cell. So this has been explained in this soup 20 in 110th from the first bundle, 110th soup and 111th soup. A lot of this has been described. Now, Ribhu has a tremendous power to divide and they form the single cell or the prokaryotic cells. And ultimately they form the multicellular or eukaryotic body of cells. In this, the whatever has been they are forming the plants and animals. In this transformation of Ribhu, Twasta acted as messenger of genetic material to evolve into plants and animals. According to the Vedic scholar Sinacharya, Twasta is divinity as accepted by God. Now here you will find about the Ribhus. They possessed skill and constructed a well-built car, so they can produce something new. Now whatever is being done, those above statements about Twasta according to Puranic mythology and Sinacharya also says that the Twasta is the divinity as accepted by the gods. He called Ribhus a disciple of Twasta, Twastuhu Shishaha Ribhuaha. So whatever Ribhu or the cell is doing is because of the Twasta. Now Twasta is a DNA-like structure, and you can see here the Ribhus by sages and gods. They have gone the capacity to divide. Human genetics has shown that there are 23 pairs of chromosomes. There is one pair as XX and XY. They determine the sex. And in our genome, there are 20 to 25,000 of genes, and each gene carries one characteristic. And whatever you see, whatever the DNA records the deeds come of an individual in its language code after the death of an individual, the language uh, code of his deeds. Karm is imperishable, which give him back life through opening of the same language code on the duplicating DNA in the next generation. The thought energy of previous birth through the language of the DNA decides the course of the life. The DNA is imperishable. It is present in all living beings. It is even in our ashes. It is present in our single hair even. I'll show very interesting thing. Recently, we have discovered a skeleton of a human female, 4,500-year old from Rakhi Ghadi in Haryana, in India. And this is the part, Haryana, Rakhi Ghadi is the part of the Mohenjo-daro. Now, Mohenjo-daro is the Indus Valley civilization. It is part of the Indus Valley civilization, and lot of work is being done at the moment. And now, after this, I'll show you about how the fertilization takes place, how the new generation takes place. So this is, I will describe. This is the last one which I have in mind. The uh, yeah, the 10th mandal, Sukt 184. There are only three richas. Now here the rishis are Twasta, Garkarta, Athva, Vishnu, Prajapati, Devta, Lingok Dekta, Vishnu, Twasta, Prajapati, Sinivali, Saraswati, Devi, and Ashwini Kumar. And they are the rishis of and devtas of this sukt. The first sukt is Vishnu Yoni Kalpetu Twasta Rupani Pinchutam. Now this is about the how uh, the embryo forms. This is the structure of the female genital organ. You can see the on both the sides here. You can see the ovary, and two ovaries, right and left. And this is the vagina, this is the uterus, and this is the fallopian tube. And now here I'll show you again. This is how the vagina, this is the penis. In one ejaculation, there are millions of the sperms, and only about 300 sperms through the cervix are allowed to go. And they go about 100 and 150 on each side of the fallopian tube, and they just fertilize the embryo. Now here you can see this is the one which I have shown you. This is the ovary, outer surface of the ovary, and this is the sperm. Fraction of seconds this sperm enters, and only one sperm is allowed to enter at one time. In case accidentally if two sperms enter, then there will be twinning, and this twinning will be identical. And I'll just describe you about the this fraternal twinning, identical twinning also I'll describe. See this, if the two when the two parts of the embryo are formed, then they can divide and they can form two embryos, and these are identical, so they will be identical twins. And this is how the fertilization takes place. And then they say that sustain the embryo Sinivali, sustain the embryo Saraswati, may the divine Ashwin's garland with lotuses sustain your embryo. We invoke your embryo which the Ashwins have turned with the golden pieces of touchwood that you may bring it forth in the 10th month. So whatever the estrogen and gonadotropin, they form the genital organs, and once the embryo is fertilized, it may not get out, it may not abort, and this abortion is can be stopped by Sinivali and Saraswati Devi. And now in today's language, only the language has been changed. Now we call it as the progesterone. If there are chances of abortion, then the progesterone injections are given. So this is how I have interpreted this, how a new generation or life has been created by an ovum and by a sperm. Thank you very much.